is November 17th, Monday. Welcome to the Saltwater Report. I'm Bill Hitchcock. We got a lot to get out to you, as we always do. In the fishing report, man, the sea mullet and the black drum activity, particularly in the southern section of the state, has been ballistic. Speckled trout fishing and little poppy drum, particularly in the central area of the state, and the big red drum and offshore blackfin tuna fishing has been fantastic out of the Outer Banks area. Also, we've got some calm winds this week. Hey, North Carolina, calm winds coming up this week, but the water temperatures is what's fascinating. They've absolutely plummeted up and down the coast of North Carolina since our last show. We have little rain forecasted. We'll talk about that. One of the cool things in our news segment, we're going to talk about tagged drum. We're going to follow them online and show you how to follow drums swimming around the coast of North Carolina online. Lots of stuff to get out to you. We got fisheries news, upcoming meetings, a bunch of stuff. But before we get started, I wanted to do this. I wanted to make a little announcement. In just 1 year, this channel, the Saltwater Report, has grown in exactly 1 year from 300 subscribers to 6,000 subscribers. Now that's incredible growth, and I greatly appreciate it. But here's the thing: about 70% of the people who watch the Saltwater Report every week still aren't subscribed, and that comes up to roughly like 20,000 regular viewers every week are not subscribed. So if you're one of those 20,000, I'm asking you, hit the subscribe button, give the video a like, and tap the notification bell so you'll know every time we post a new show. Not only does this help YouTube understand what content you like so they can suggest similar content to you, this also directly supports the channel. So please take a second and hit the subscribe button. Now on with the show. This is it. News: drum tagging. The North Carolina Marine and Estuary Foundation has launched a first-of-its-kind interactive tracking platform for red drum. The tool lets the public follow these drum in near real time and learn how they use our waters. It builds on a successful pilot program and expands tagging to 40 more red drum along the coast this year. Working with the marine fisheries, local guides, researchers are mapping where these fish travel, spawn, and migrate. The project uses satellite tags and technology from Mapopic. I hope that pronounced that right. The same group behind the popular shark tracking platform, OSearch. Now go online. I put the URL address in the description, and you can watch these drum almost in real time where they're going up and down the coast. Now, speaking of OSearch, meet Quint, OSearch's newest tagged white shark. It's its 100th in the western North Atlantic. It's OSearch's 100th. Quint is a sub-adult male, nearly 10 feet long and about 587 pounds. Tagged July 23rd in Nova Scotia, and guess where he just showed up? On November 14th, Quint pinged off the North Carolina coast. You can follow his journey at OSearch's website, and I'm going to put that information down in the description as well. Many of you may recall I have a fondness for tagging studies and programs because I was the coordinator for the Tag a Giant Bluefin Tuna Conservation Series in the 90s going into the O's. So absolutely fascinating stuff. Now the North Carolina Marine Fisheries Commission will meet November 19th and 20th at the Holiday Inn Resort in Wrightsville Beach. The meeting is open to the public and will also be live streamed right here on YouTube. Agenda highlights include a review of southern flounder management, changes for striped bass, and an overview of the new reporting requirements for both recreational and commercial fishermen that go into effect December 1st, 2025. It's my understanding that Jesse Passett with the North Carolina Division of Marine Fisheries is going to be giving a demonstration on how this new reporting method that we're all going to have to do starting December 1st. So go to the meeting, and the public meeting aspect, if you'd like to speak during the public comment period, sign up at the hotel before the comment period begins. You can also write comments by submitting online or by mail. The full agenda, meeting materials, and live stream link are available at the Marine Fisheries Commission meetings web page. And I beg you, if you have anything to say, go and say it. or email it in, do something, but please say your piece. Now let's get on with the wind and sea conditions. I got those rented lips again. Sea surface temperatures and the coastal weather report. Right now, the wind and sea conditions. Let's take a look. It's time to get on with our wind and sea conditions and projections and sea surface temperatures brought to us by Satfish, the satellite fishing technology folks that bring us these this type of information in real time and forecasted. Now, what we're looking at the moment is the wind on Monday morning when I am doing this. Right now, we've got winds that are coming out of the northwest. Not too bad, 12 knots in the northern Outer Banks, around 14, 15 knots in the Pamlico Sound, down here in Onslow Bay, 13 knots, down here at Cape Fear, 11 knots. Tomorrow, Tuesday, what it's going to be like? Well, it looks like it's going to lighten up. Still, the winds out of northwest. Northern Outer Banks around 5 knots. Pamlico Sound about 4 or 5 knots. In front of the Bogue Banks, Jacksonville area, 4 knots. Down here in Cape Fear, 5, 6 knots. Wednesday, what are the winds looking like? Well, they're shifting, but only about 9, 10 knots, 12 knots. It's pretty consistent up and down the coast of North Carolina. Thursday, what's happening on Thursday? Do we have wind? Yes, on the northern Outer Banks, 4 knots. Pamlico Sound, 5 knots. Down here off of Swansboro, Atlantic Beach, 2, 3 knots. Down here Cape Fear, 6, 7 knots. Friday. What happens Friday? Well, looky there. It's barely blowing again. 9, 10 knots northern Outer Banks and Pamlico Sound. 7, 8 knots down here in Cape Fear. 9, 10 knots. So it looks like as the week progresses, it's going to be extremely light winds considering the type of winds that we've had to deal with over the past several days. Now, let's go take a look at our sea surface temperatures. You can see it's very clearly defined, but this is what I want to zoom into in the Albemarle and Pamlico Sounds. Our last report on Thursday, these were 60 degrees. Now guess what? They're down 56 degrees. The Albemarle Sound, 55, 56 degrees. Same with the Pamlico Sound. It has dropped 4 or 5 degrees in the past 4 or 5 days. Speckled trout fishing type environment. Now, I mean, all the way to the Neuse River, 55, 56 degrees. Beach water temperatures working on down Kill Devil Hills. Look at that, 60 degrees. We're looking at inshore water temperatures around 60 degrees. I've been calling it the buffer. This cool water off of the beach working on out is starting to increase. But look at this. You know, you got to run a little bit before you're getting anywhere from 65 to 66 degrees out here. If these guys want to go king mackerel fishing, that's an area. And you'll find out in the fishing report, the blackfin tuna are around 70, 71 degrees. So these are the areas these guys are having to run out of Oregon Inlet. They're going to have to go deep or out far, matter of fact, Now, and again, I keep talking about this warm water. This is going to be the warmest waters along the coast of North Carolina as we go on into wintertime. It'll be like that until next March. So we have warm waters coming out of Ocracoke. You're going to have to run out here a little bit to get to that 70-degree water temperature. Now, what I find very interesting around the Cape Lookout Shoals, this was around 68, 67 degrees 3-4 days ago. But look at this, George Summerlin Reef, 61 degrees. Knuckle Buoy, 62 degrees. Northwest Places, 63 degrees. Working on out here to the 90-foot drop is at 72 degrees. So the Hardy's Reef working on out. If you're a king mackerel fisherman, I just think about king mackerel during the fall like speckled trout, you're going to have to run deep out here at the Big Rock. It's not even 80 degrees. So the Gulf Stream has cooled down. Now the buffer over here has expanded. These guys that have been king mackerel fishing, again, you're going to hear in the fishing report, if you want to go king mackerel fishing, your round trip's going to be at least 8 hours. So out of Rich's Inlet, Dallas Rock, 64, 65 degrees. Pretty consistent here. Frying Pan Towers, 69 degrees. So if you want to go king fishing, you go there. Working on out here. Again, look at the Gulf Stream water temperatures, not even 80 degrees. You're going to have to really go deep before you hit your 80-degree mark. All right, I'd like to thank Satfish, the satellite fishing technology people, for supplying us with this information. Go to their website, satfish.com. Satfish.com. I'm only showing you just a drop in the bucket of all the things they have to offer. Okay, let's look at our weather forecast brought to us by the National Weather Service. What you're looking at right now are the projected high temperatures along the coast of North Carolina starting on Monday. And again, as a friendly reminder, wherever you see those temperatures, that is the actual pinpoint mark that they're talking about. So that's like 57 degrees in the Pamlico Sound. That's 59 degrees offshore of Hatteras. Again, this is Monday high temperatures forecasted. Tuesday's high temperatures, it warms up a little bit. It's 60 to mid 60s up and down the coast of North Carolina. Wednesday, what happens? Well, it looks like it's trying to warm up even more from 67 degrees at Hatteras down here, 71 degrees in the Wilmington area. Thursday, it cools down a little bit more, low 60s in the northern Outer Banks. It looks around 67 degrees in the Jacksonville area and south. On Friday, it warms up into the 70s down here in the Onslow Bay area, upper 60s in the northern Outer Banks. Let's see if we can get Saturday. Saturday looks like 70s, 60s, so it's looking good. And I'm going to try Sunday. Well, it cools down on Sunday. Now, I want to take a look at the rain potential. Rain potential starting on Monday. Today, they're saying there's no chance of rain up and down the coast. On Tuesday, no chance of rain. On Wednesday, I think, well, we got up northern Outer Banks about a 50% chance of rain. But once you come down from Cape Lookout on down south, barely a chance of rain. That's Wednesday. On Thursday, it looks like just about no chance of rain. Friday, same thing. Saturday, what happens on Saturday? It looks like a slight chance of rain. Sunday, it looks like, well, a little bit of chance of rain. But again, these are long-range forecasts. It is the coast of North Carolina. Always keep an eye to the sky because things can and do change rapidly. This weather forecast has been brought to us by the National Weather Service. Those water temperatures have just dropped since our last show. This is Monday. Our last show was Thursday. They've dropped 4 or 5 degrees in places like the Albemarle, Pamlico Sound. Go catch you some speckled trout. Now, speaking of catching some fish, the Fishing Report, Nags Head Pier, it's Pam Zeman showing everyone there are some keepers out there. They are catching lots of undersized trout, or Hampton specials, as they call them. Never heard that before. Anglers yesterday, that Saturday afternoon, caught good-sized sea mullet, spot, black drum, and lots of small trout. Salty Waters OBX said good fishing today for Donnie, Jim, and Axel the Golden. Axel the Golden, that's the dog. Once the temps got right, they chewed for hours. Thanks, fellas. I really enjoyed the day with you guys. In-game sport fishing out of Oregon Inlet says nice catch of blackfins and a kicker king today. Now listen to what Tuna Fever Charters has to say out of Oregon Inlet. He says, today we had Mike and the boys from Little Beach Concrete that come back. The change crossed around the 560 line. Water went to 71 degrees, and that's where we caught our blackfins. That's invaluable information. And I thank you, Captain, for letting us all know that information. Color temperature. Well, that's coming in terms of temperature. That's a break, and that's where the fish have been. Fish the Pelican said we landed a nice catch of blackfin tuna today. So there's that crowd again up there out of the northern Outer Banks. Hatteras Island, Avon Pier, 1.97 pound and a 1.8 pound sea mullet. Good job, John. And by the way, this is not you're going to hear about big sea mullet all up and down the coast of North Carolina on this report. So good job, John. Nice one, Zach. Big drum. Frank and Franz, Avon, North Carolina, said it turned out to be a beautiful day on the island. This is yesterday, but with some strong winds on the beach. However, it seems it didn't affect the current. Folks who were able to handle the wind were catching sharks and sea mullet. Gary came in to have his citation 1 pound, 12 ounce sea mullets weighed in, and Brandon shared some photos, catches he made with some friends. All right, Hatteras Harbor Marina. The water was a little rough. Imagine that. They managed to deck some blackfin tuna and some sea bass, had a lot of albacore. Inshore boats had catches of king mackerel. The black pearl got into an epic battle with thresher sharks. Vengeance had catches of sheepshead, black drum, and bluefish. All righty. Just keep in mind what we went over in the satfish sea surface temperatures. That buffer, that cooler water is moving off the beach and further out. So the king mackerel fishermen you're going to be heading out a little bit more. Trade winds bait and tackle out of Ocracoke said Toot Boone caught a couple of puppy drum fishing Ocracoke's beach yesterday using cut mullet from trade winds. Mark Stanley and Kevin White from Virginia Beach caught a red drum and a black drum respectively yesterday fishing Ocracoke's beach. And Zachary Rollins and crew caught sharks, rays, puffers, bluefish, and a half a dozen big red drum this week fishing the surf off of Ocracoke Island. They were using cut mullet and bluefish, what they caught, as bait. Now in the central area, Cape Lookout, Crystal Coast area. Oh, I wanted to bring this to everybody's attention. Newbern, a couple of 3 months ago, opened up a public pier downtown Newbern. And what's it been like? Well, I wanted to show you this. Look at these bluefish from November 4th off the public pier in Newbern. And November 11th, bluefish as well. And you can catch catfish there and stripers, a large variety of fish. So if you get an opportunity, head to that public pier in Newbern. It's downtown, beautiful, historical, not hysterical. Here come the complaint letters in Newbern, and catch you some fish. Now, Outcast Outdoors out of Swansboro says, if you don't like to go shopping on Black Friday, save $100 and come catch some trout. The trout bite is on fire right now, and most people will be shopping. Captain Tony Jackson. Boy, you're right, Captain. Flying Tide Charters out of Atlantic Beach says, fished inshore today. It was yesterday. Wind had the ocean churned up pretty good. We caught tons of drum, trout, and sheepshead. All were released. I got a little note here that says, looks like they're, oh, that's it. I made a little note. Although they don't say this, from looking at the pictures, it looks like they're up Core Creek around the bridge, the Core Creek Bridge. Very productive spot for lots of things. Cape Crusader Charters out of Atlantic Beach. They say the thump action again today. We had a limit before 7:30 in the morning, culled fish for a few hours. Decided to go look for stripers, but found some big blue fish blowing up shad instead. Great trip today, lots of action. Bogue Inlet Pier, Saturday, this is speckled trout, sea mullet, especially after dark. Black drum and puppy drum. What a busy place. Water temperature at 60 degrees at the Bogue Inlet Pier. And again, we've been talking about this now for a couple of weeks. The sea mullets seem to be most productive. You want to, numbers is being caught at night. Now in the southern region, OMC Fishing Adventures out of Sneed's Ferry. Say just a few hogs from yesterday's trips. It's that time of year. Well, they got a few more than just a few. Now the Von Decay, my favorite people. Take a look at this video. GP with 3 fish at a time today. He's a fishing genius. Nice work today. Yep, you better believe it. Surf City Pier. Tom with a nice catch this morning. Plenty of black drum and sea mullet. Now, I'm showing you one picture. Tom's got a whole bunch of fish, black drum and sea mullet. He wasn't the only one. It seems to be nuts down there. Gail Locklear with a 2.05 pound sea mullet. James McAdoo with a 6.89 pound black drum. And let's see some video of James. He's landing a 1.63 pound sea mullet. So congratulations, James. Now, Ocean City Isle Fishing Center, they say there's still some king mackerel on the 8-hour trip range. And again, this is what we were talking about during the sea surface temperatures. That buffer, as I'm calling it, off the beach heading on out is getting extended for that crowd down there. But you can still find the water temperatures, which is usually, around 67, 68 degree range if you're a king mackerel fisherman. So it's proof in the pudding. You can still go on out there. The Ocean Isle Fishing Center also says there's tons of gag, grouper, and red snapper to tug on. Whew, wow. Feel Good Fishing Charters out of Wilmington. They say yesterday hooked some massive drum. Red drum to be precise, but they weren't red at all. They were shimmered in the most magnificent golden hue, like treasures pulled straight from the deep. Well, that's pretty artistic poem, kind of wonderful writing there. They're red, they're offshore, and they are gold. I mean, they are beyond red, and really all that means they get that color when they're in the backwaters. The water's flavor and color fish. And they caught them offshore, though, so that tells you what? They migrated out. They just migrated out. Oak Island Fishing Charter's backwater is still producing solid catches of trout and drum. We have Friday morning open, so if you'd like to join, and by the way, call all of these guys up. The fishing reports are waning, and one of the reasons why is people aren't booking charters. It's the time of year. I know, Thanksgiving, understood. Back to work, back to school, all that kind of stuff. But if you have the urge or the notion, particularly midweek, give these guys a call. You might be surprised what is available. Email me, billhitchcock@mail.com, billhitchcock@mail.com. Send me your pictures, your videos. It doesn't matter. I go through this drill. If you're an experienced fisherman, a bait and tackle shop, a charter boat captain, a pier, it doesn't matter. Send us your pictures of your catches, your big catches, your little catches, your weird catches. It doesn't matter. I would love some more pictures of how-tos, of baits and rigs, throw in a cast net, all sorts of stuff. Email me, billhitchcock@mail.com. And please, don't forget to subscribe. I want to tap into those 20,000 people that are coming each week and haven't subscribed yet. Enough of me. I'm Bill Hitchcock. Until next time, see ya.